fact, can probably just leave. We do now have our rune by our side, so there's no real harm in just backing off, at least healing up our ghost. I know it's tempting to try and see what else is in store for us here. Probably what we wish to do, though, is, I mean, we should swap into our protective gear. We do have a ring of corrosion resistance, but I'm pretty confident we can take out these buddies. It doesn't even end up with any treasure, but not the end of the world. And there we go. We have the first rune under our belt. Things going fairly smoothly so far. Which background is our ancestor this time? We went with the battle mage. We were hoping to just get some pretty wild damage output between the two of us. So far it's been going pretty well. Unfortunately, our battle mage does have the tendency to just charge headfirst directly into battle. But not the end of the world, and they still definitely soak up a lot of the damage that our otherwise squishy hunter would struggle with, to say the least. But fantastic. Yeah, I could see Knight is probably the better bet for most hunters. Again, just a bit more, even more of a damage sponge. Get that cleave later on. I think the Battle Mage is really interesting, potentially with like a melee character where you can tank all the hits and your Battle Mage can kind of hang out behind and just release an onslaught of damage upon all of your foes. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a big deal in any case. And we're managing to smash our way through without much care in the world here. Again, it's pretty dang sweet finding ourselves with a +8 artifact longbow this early in the game. Absolutely smashes its way through all of our new friends here. And this time I'll actually forcibly or willfully let my friend get in front of us here, take a bit of the damage, not too shabby. It's fun trying new stuff sometimes, for sure. That's definitely words I try to live by, because I do very much enjoy trying new things, experiencing all the goodness out there. And okie dokie. A pretty fantastic ring here, some more fire resistance, some positive energy finally. And again, Dex +6. It's like the game knew we were going with a ranger style here. Especially considering the fact that the rest of these aren't really speaking to me. Gold could be alright. This is the price of the experience potion that we left up in a store previously, but I don't think I can say no to this ring, so we'll just pick up this bad boy. Can replace this regular fire resistance ring, and that is likely to be an endgame option for us, and should do quite well in the future. But okie dokie, so far, Snake looking pretty good. Ah, now that I kind of forgot about. We don't have electricity resistance. Right. Very important to keep that in mind. I believe our staff has our lek, but unfortunately is not super useful here. Huh. I mean, we did very recently pretty much have to do this exact same setup, get through Snake with no lightning resistance, and we did manage to do so with only a few sketchy encounters on the way, so it's not the end of the world, much like having no poison resistance for these S branches. As long as we're cautious and careful, we should be able to figure it out, even if it is slightly less than ideal. And at what point do I start the retreat here? We're definitely getting pretty dang close. In fact, that's gonna be it right there. Fantastic. Get the heck out of dodge, heal up, and then we can come and finish the job. It's nice of them to just chill when I go upstairs. You can just see our ancestral ghost and the sharpshooter buddy just hanging out, getting along, just having the best of times, really. Beautiful relationship was forming, but unfortunately nothing good can last, and there we go. We accidentally don't really notice as whatchamacallit there, another storm serpent, shock serpent. I always want to say storm snake, and I got halfway there this time, but the shock serpent around Definitely could have been a bit of a pain in the butt. Fortunately, we make our way through. You know what, let's actually get this buddy on our side. I don't think it worked, unfortunately. Maybe one more attempt to go upstairs, and there we go. That is much better. We can work off the rest of the mark, as well as heal ourselves up. Oh, I didn't notice we lost our ancestor, so actually probably should hang out just a little bit longer. Oh, never mind. You had just gone exploring somewhere? Hello? Hello, friend? There you are. Fantastic. But there we go. We've managed to level ourselves out after a bit of an unfortunate mark trap there. Nothing we can't handle. Ooh, and some shops are lovely. Oh, especially that right there, getting us that resistance to electricity we need, as well as maintaining the poison resistance. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to snap by that. Extra willpower on this son of a gun with some slaying to boot. Also pretty nice. The ring is a no-brainer. I think I need to pick that bad boy up right away, replace our current poison resistance ring. And then before we buy this other one, we will check out these other shops, see if there's anything worth our trouble. Summoning scrolls up there for sure. Manual staves is interesting, but nothing that we necessarily need. Now, potion of resistance, on the other hand, could be quite nice. It's no longer quite as necessary now that we do have that electricity resistance. We're looking pretty solid across the board, at least for this kind of mid-stage of the game. Can't imagine we'll need much more than that. And so, do we buy the Scroll of Summoning, bringing us up to 5, or do we buy this ring? We're not likely to swap to this ring anytime soon. It'd be kind of for the future when we do want some additional willpower. I also didn't notice we have an Amulet of Regen. So I've changed my mind. That's actually going to be our snap buy here. We're going to get rid of our magic regeneration amulet that's doing practically nothing for us. And swap that bad boy out for pretty much my favorite amulet in the game. Regeneration always very strong. I say pretty much because I think it's the most consistent and kind of the best amulet on the majority of characters. But favorite, number 1 slot probably has to go with a reflection branded amulet, just because there's nothing quite like reflecting your enemy's attacks directly back into their own faces. Always a thing of beauty, and we'd love to see it. And more brand weapon scrolls? Holy moly. I'm really hoping that we find ourselves with like a triple crossbow at some point on this run. Ooh. Interdimensional caravan. Don't mind if I do. It does look like it's right by us here, so I probably want to stick around and try to beat this encounter if at all possible. Unfortunately, this Naga Warrior is going to hurt like a son of a gun if they get up to us. 47 damage is a bit more than I would care to take anytime soon. But we'll blast a few times, and then that should give us the early advantage here, and hopefully just take out the rest of these sons of guns. We have the escape path if need be. But let's start heading for that bazaar, shall we? Fantastic stuff. And a few more enemies will hopefully be the end of it, and then we can pop our way over to here. Oh gosh. It continues. A never-ending onslaught, but there we go. There's nothing quite like Gong Reflecting Ignition, right? Just truly a thing of beauty. I mean, Gong is just so wonderful. As much as it pretty consistently almost gets my characters killed, I do love the ever-living crap out of that item. But yeah, and Reflection goes especially well with Formsid characters because we can wear this Tower Shield the entirety of the game without a care in the world, so it's definitely a thing of beauty. But let's just continue emptying out some inventory slots and then head on in. Now it's a real shame that we spent all of our money. Watch there be just the greatest items the world has ever seen here. You know, maybe not. Beer Scroll? Okay. Kind of some sick stuff here. Amulet of the Four Winds is actually wonderful. Dang it. Amulet of Reflection, speak of the devil, Could get that bad boy if we so desired. It's a bit more additional shield power here as well. And yeah, again, not only do the majority of our rings have dex bonuses, they also have MP bonuses. And like, that's not as useful for us by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty strange that it's happened like 4 times now. Bit of an odd one. And another, even this ring is beautiful. I mean, what is the third ability of ours? Stealth. So we could swap out the stealth for See Invisible, which is completely useless since we already do so. But something that was pointed out a while back that I'd completely forgotten was that this slow effect means absolutely nothing to us. Thanks to our stasis, we can safely ignore that, so that makes this ring way more tenable than it otherwise could have been. Again, we cannot afford the Amulet of the 4 Winds, so I think we might just buy this Amulet of Reflection. Just for funsies. Does mean that we don't get to buy the Fear Scroll, but that's not the end of the world, and we can just get the heck out of dodge here and be happy with our haul. Fantastic. I don't know if I'll swap her right away. I guess it does pretty well, specifically in this zone. We can reflect the spit. Of course, any of the marks. Naga? Sharpshooters? Is that what they're called? Again, brain is failing me in our time of need here, but let's go up to 31 shielding, and we can reflect all of those attacks back at our enemies, so that's quite wonderful, of course. Ooh. Anula regains her memory of haste. And a Lagitang of freezing. Now that is wonderful, my friend. It's a bit of a shame that I don't believe you can haste me. It would be a bit too powerful, and I guess it's kind of academic at this point because, once again, means nothing to a Formicid, but it would be cool. Let's let our Lagitang of cold wielding friend take the forefront of the battle here. Wonderful work, Eula. Ooh. There we go. Bit of Guardian Serpent action. Definitely leaves us in a bit of a nasty spot, but fortunately, we can use the additional speed we have over the Naga to just get the heck away from that mighted up warrior, and can hopefully finish off the rest of the floor here without too much trouble. That should be fantastic. Alarm trap just blocking off the rest of that hallway. Beautiful. Thanks, game. You know what? There's a different stairwell there. Let's just go for it. This is a pretty nice hallway for us to deal with, all things considered. Can always swap places with our ancestor and get the heck out of dodge as soon as things get a bit too tough to handle, but fortunately it doesn't quite get there. And we'll just keep blitzing through. That's already Snake 3 done? Holy moly. Oh, hey, Agnes. Do you have an electric Lagitang? Oof. Pretty good odds to dodge me as well. I think with both of us firing on you, we should do alright. And in fact, you know what? Let's just swap over to some guaranteed hits here, just to play it as safe as we possibly can. And then we know that we have our out as soon as we need it. I was kind of hoping to see some fun reflection shenanigans here, so that's why I'm pushing this a bit further than I probably should by any stretch of the imagination. Especially if a Guardian Serpent pops around the corner, I'm so screwed. Oh, look at all our new friends. Okay, let's get the heck out of here for the moment, and we'll just swap over to a slightly more manageable stairwell. At least that's the dream. Doesn't look all that much better, but definitely as enemies just slowly trickle in, we're able to take them down as needs must. Fantastic. And again, just so many blink scrolls. DCSS does always have that sense of humor to make sure to throw those at you when it matters least. Thanks, RNG. Gotta love ya. But we can drop the poison darts. I don't see us using that anytime soon. And now we do have the resistance potion if the worst should come to pass and we need some additional defenses. Always nice to have that as a bit of a backup option. And let's see how the rest goes. Oh, hey, Azul. Probably don't need to worry about you, and in fact, does seem to be the case as we just blitz our way through that son of a gun. Now, that's a much nicer unique than what we've had to deal with recently in the past, so very happy to do so. Okay, I'm just waiting for us to get surrounded. So I think potentially the play here is to just dig into the wall like this. Do it so that Ayla can still attack. Normally we like to do a little hook there to make sure that only the enemy directly in front of us can see. But in this case, might as well take advantage of the Ancestor. I don't know where the Guardian Serpent went. There we go, speak of the devil. And we'll just pop into safety, make sure we play this as safe as we possibly can. And that should be fantastic. Not only is the corridor strat, or the dig strat, fantastic for making sure that you're only dealing with one enemy at a time, it also deals pretty well as a makeshift anti-Guardian Serpent defense. Can always just retreat into a corridor, make sure that those surrounds aren't gonna screw us over too much in the long run. And that is fantastic. Should release our ghost upon the sharpshooters here. Beautiful work, my friend. Oh, and Vajnia. There we go. Vajnia could be a little bit tougher. Or, you know, we could just get some reflex and basically murders themselves. Fantastic. I mean, I am definitely not complaining. +2 Vorpal Arbalist can immediately replace our +0/1. That's a nice little backup if we need something that is elemental agnostic. And I think that's the last of our un-ID'd potions. Still haven't found any experience, but it's the last one, so we can drop the ID scrolls pretty safely and just ignore those sons of guns. Not too shabby. It did seem like Vajnia was completely separated from their usual retinue here, so I'm guessing those were maybe the sharpshooters that we killed right before, or the ones that we just fought up in the corner, maybe. Regardless, I will take it. And could I like to just kind of squeeze one on through the summons here, if at all possible. There we go. And just keep trying to do so. My gosh. Let's just blast with a Quicksilver. Unfortunately, it does mean that we don't get that summoning scroll. Bit of a pain in the butt. But hey, it is what it is. And I'm still thinking we're doing pretty well. We have 8 of those now that I actually take a peek at our inventory, which is wild for this stage in the game. Should be plenty of bodies to keep ourselves safe in the future. And once again, we'll be a little bit cautious of the Guardian Serpent. Not quite going all the way back to our cubby hole, but at least trying to keep ourselves slightly safer than we otherwise might. And then just start blasting. Fantastic. Again, Ola just immediately running in like the tank they are. Beautiful work there, my friend. And how much more is there left to deal with here? Doesn't look like much, as we do finally pick up that rune and finish off the rest of the snake floor. Holy moly. Just under an hour in, and we already picked up both S-Branch runes, and definitely are on our way to glory and greatness here. Absolutely love to see it. So speaking of which, where the heck are we going next? We actually ended up with pretty solid resistances across the board, so we could potentially afford to head to Elf. As long as we can hit enemies, we should be murdering them pretty dang quickly with our damage output. There's also the question of what we want to do for our final rune. I do kind of want slime, if just for this treasure trove that we left behind. At least I think there's one. Yeah, on D15. We just have to show it the slimy rune, so that's very tempting to try out. I'm just so excited by troves, and this time we don't have the risk of spending all of our wonderful consumables to get absolutely nothing in return. So we might have to force slime to happen. Even though normally on a hunter character I'd prefer Abyss, We have really good damage output. We have decent, like, survivability in the long run, especially now that we don't need to worry about picking up ammo. It's a pretty safe bet. But I think we'll be doing slime today instead. There's, of course, no rush on that, though. Most likely be finishing off the majority of vaults, as well as elf, before we head that way. Potentially depths as well, just to play it as safe as possible. Do I dare go elf? I guess I'm kind of doubled up on poison resistance now that I think about it. Kind of forgot that I swapped into the Swamp Dragon scales and just kept our poison resistance ring on the whole time. A bit different here in Snake, of course, because we were getting this Arlek out of it. But before I swapped over to this ring, I'm pretty sure we were wearing just our basic poison resistance. So, shows how much I'm paying attention. Great work, Torinski brain. As always, you're doing wonderful work out there. But it'd be something like swapping to this for the future. Do lose our resistance to electricity, but puts us in a pretty good spot overall, up to 38 dex. It's just wild damage on our longbow. Fantastic stuff. So that's the plan for the future, but for now we'll keep toward the Arlek. Mostly because I think we are going to head into elf. The main consideration here is that we may want to find the acid dragon scales that we left behind. Excuse me, pardon me. No, even left some friends behind as well. Don't mind me. So we make our way back down, and let's instead swap out. Do you know what? Boomerangs can go. And with that, we can safely at least make our way over to the entrance to elf. And swapping back over to this will lose us out on a slight bit of armor class, but does leave us with corrosion resistance, so really nice across the board here. Just positive energy, the only big kind of hole in our play here at the moment. Let's try this out. Maybe we won't do elf 3, but we can at least kind of dip our toes in, start to see how it's looking. Our reflection with the tower shield should also do a pretty fantastic bit of work for us here. And if everyone could just kindly come around the corner one at a time, form an orderly queue, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you, my friends. And not too shabby. Okay, let's break in officially for ourselves now. Beautiful. And if that's a good indication as to how the rest of Elf is going to go, then I will very much be a happy camper. And so we'll just continue to blitz our way through. A tin of tremor stones. Not bad. Can maybe swap you out for... I mean, I don't really... Actually, I'm struggling over what to drop from my inventory here. I'm just carrying along 6 potions of degeneration. That makes that job a bit easier. Amulet of Faith we can just leave on the ground for now. Nothing to see there. And I can't imagine we'll get a much better weapon from a shop. But I'm still going to obviously check them. You never know when you might find that beautiful triple crossbow that we're still missing out on. So that's the dream here. Boomerangs can enter the ignore list. Was that a distortion longsword? It was. That could have been a fun adventure to say the least. But not too shabby, so we'll just continue to blitz our way through the rest of Elf. I can't imagine we'll run into too much trouble until the eventual escapades to enter the final vault. But once again, we'll have to see if we even bother to do so on this venture, or if we save that for another endeavor in the future. And where do we wish to go for skills next year? More fighting is always nice, just a bit of extra health, especially having lost 10% HP to Hep. It's nice to offset that a bit with training. A bit more invocations. I guess invocations increases the power of Idealize, which we haven't been using so far, but could have actually been useful for a couple of our encounters, especially ones where we lost our ancestor. Getting the heal out there, increasing the spell power of their abilities too. Probably pretty great. So let's Actually, just put on that regardless here. What else? I mean, I am a sucker for evocations as well. So maybe we'll plop that bad boy on. And then just as mentioned, a bit of fighting never hurt nobody. Beautiful. And that should put us in a fairly decent spot moving forward here. And we'll see how long those take to get up to speed, since we are just ramping through experience like it's nobody's business here. Is definitely wonderful. So once again, I'm kind of taking the brunt of the fire again here, letting our friend just be a backline. We'll probably swap out at some point as we start to get weaker, and then maybe try to use that idealize action. Oh, never mind. Too little, too late. My bad. You know what? Let's actually close this door behind me. And then, if I can kill you, and then close that so we don't get anyone blinking in behind us. Whoops, let's not shoot myself. Thank you, game, for preventing any such silliness. Appreciate it. And we can close that door, close this door, just keep stepping away, getting a bit of health regeneration in while we're at it. And there we go. Aula's back, and we are open for business. Let's do this. Don't know where the final archer we were fighting there went off to. Apparently decided that this encounter was not worth their time. Roka? Maybe? Just a bunch of orcs chilling?